I'm down in the basement of my workshop, and I'm going to be cutting plywood for the carcass pieces of the sideboard buffet. I've made a little rig here out of particle board that I can put a piece of plywood flat on here, adjust the blade of my circular saw to just barely go into this wood, just barely through the plywood, and I can cut the plywood to size so it's a little more manageable up in the shop. I'm not a big plywood user, but I do like to keep a stock of the various sizes that I use, and so I've built this rack that holds the plywood vertically, which is the most efficient way for me to store it in the shop, and I've got a piece of 3/4 inch that I'm going to go ahead and lay down. It's easy to cut straight lines like this if you have one of these special clamps from Rockler that clamps onto the width of the sheet. I also have one that goes the full length of the sheet, and it acts as a saw guide. Now I've got the pieces of plywood cut that will be the sides, bottom, and top of and back of the carcass. I've designed this piece so that the sides are 5/8 inch thick, the tops are 3/4, the backs are 3/4, and the bottoms are 7/8 inch thick. Well, my supplier had plywood in the 1/2 and a 3/4 inch thickness. So to get the 5/8, I'm going to glue a 1/2 inch piece of plywood to a 1/8 inch piece of plywood to get 5/8. With the bottoms that are 7/8, I'll take a 1/2 inch and glue to 3/16, top and bottom, and so forth. Now, to do this, I'm going to use a vacuum press. And I'll go through that whole process with you, but briefly, I will put glue between the layers of plywood, and then I will put them inside of this this large caul that lays flat and goes inside the vacuum bag. I put another piece of medium density fiberboard on top to make a sandwich, and then put them into this big plastic bag here, pull all the air out with a vacuum pump. I think you can see that on the floor, and that will put about 12 psi, pounds per square inch of pressure on the laminate until the glue sets. Now this caul is built with a lot of grooves cut in the bottom so that when I start pulling the air can escape from everywhere. And the top platen is the same. I'm calling this a caul. I should call it a platen. It's flat. And the top platen that goes inside is the same. It's got all those cuts in it. And so as I go through this, you'll be able to now understand a little better as to what I'm doing. Now you can see I've got the bottom platen inside the bag. There's the bag, and this bag is very thick polyethylene, designed to not break, even though it will get stretched some on some of the corners. Here's the nozzle where the air hose will hook up to draw the air out. Now, to make sure that any glue that squeezes out of the laminate doesn't get onto the platen and stick to it, I've got a couple of sheets of what I call masonite, some people call hardboard, that has a nice smooth enamel finish on one side, and I'll simply put this board into the bag. It'll fit into the bottom of the platen, and any glue that squeezes out will just be able to pop right off of the enamel. ready to glue up the substrate panels. I'm using Better Bond veneer adhesive. I get it from a guy called Joe Woodworker. He's got a website, joewoodworker.com. And I'm going to roll that to glue on with a rubber roller. Put the panels together and then tape the edges so that they don't slide around and slip them into the box, or into the bag. This glue is a one-part glue. It's looks like a PVA glue. It's got, which is polyvinyl acetate, similar to typical woodworking glues, except this is a lot thicker. It's got pecan shells in it because it is used for veneering, and the pecan shells help keep the glue from bleeding through thin veneer and coming out on the surface. Some people use a notched trowel to spread glue. I've tried that. I don't particularly like it. It's just a preference thing. This roller always seems to work very well. Gets the glue to the right thickness. So, as with everything else, stick with what you like, what works good for you. And I keep a tub of water nearby. That's where I can put my roller after I'm done so that it cleans up. So this is water cleanup on this particular glue, which is one of the things I like. And there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and seal up the bag and put it under vacuum. Put in my top layer of coated hardboard. Put in my top platen. See the device I'm going to use to seal the bag. It's a piece of PVC pipe with a plastic clamshell that fits around it. Okay, that's all sealed up. Take the hose from my vacuum pump, which is a Venturi type vacuum pump. I've got an air compressor downstairs, compresses air and supplies it to the Venturi device that then draws the vacuum. While I'm doing this, I'm just going to make sure that the bag doesn't get contorted. I want nice even pressure. What's happening is the compressed air at 100 psi is running through a Venturi nozzle, which is drawing a vacuum through this hose. I'm sucking the air out of this bag, and when all the air is sucked out, I can get about 25 inches of mercury, maybe a little less, which is about 12 and a half pounds per square inch of vacuum. Start to see the plastic drawing in against the platen. I've got a little vacuum gauge on the pump. I'm probably up to about 7 or 8 inches of mercury vacuum right now. 15 inches of mercury, so we pretty much got our pressure now. Nothing's going to go anywhere now. And I'm up about 24 inches of vacuum now. The pump should be shutting off automatically fairly soon. Let's see, this plant there, the pump just shut off by itself at about 24.5 inches of vacuum. So let's just say we've got a 65 inch by 24 inch platen, and it's about 12.5 psi. So there's 19,500 pounds of pressure, clamping pressure here. That's that's almost 10 tons if I've done my math correctly. So a lot of pressure. It's now the morning after, the moment of truth. See how our panels turned out. Looks pretty nice. A little bit of pull on these. That's the risk of just putting the plywood on one side. You may get a little bit of pull. I'm hoping that that will relieve itself. The pull is when the plywood tends to bend a little bit if it's only veneered on one side, and essentially what I'm doing is similar to a veneer. Seem to have good adhesion. I think we're okay. I had a suspicion that I might get a little bit of pull during this particular glue because I was taking a piece of 1/2 inch plywood and gluing it to a piece of 1/8 inch plywood on one side only. What happens is the water-based glue that I use for the joint expands the wood fibers some, and when the glue sets, there can be a permanent tension from the expanded fibers, causing the plywood to bend a little bit. Well, there is a very slight bend in there, so what I'm doing to counteract that, I've taken my 4 glued up panels, and using a water spritzer bottle, I've wetted the back side, the side that I did not laminate, and then stacked them with a spacer board in between each pair of panels, wrapped it in plastic to keep the water from drying out, and clamped the edges to put a little bit of a counter curve onto the pieces. And I'm going to let that set, and what I'm hoping will happen is that the back sides of these panels will absorb the moisture and then slowly dry out and maintain the opposite set, which would result in a flat panel. Well, the panels for the carcass sections have now been made up. Some are just pieces of plywood cut to the right size. Some are pieces of plywood glued up into laminates. Now the next step is going to be to take this veneer, which you're seeing here in its rough form, and attach it properly to those panels.